And welcome back to stage 2 here at Reds Bar. Butlins Minehead, the venue for this year's Players' Championship Finals. Our second visit of the year to this wonderful venue after the UK Open. And now we have a clash between two players still on the hunt for their first ever senior PDC titles. Niels Zonneveld has come closer than Nick Kenny. Came close in Hildesheim back in July. Lost out to Sebastian Białowski, who we've already seen beat Rob Cross over on the main stage. A win on the floor is probably what's next for Triple Z, because he's becoming very, very consistent. Does tend to reach round 4 quarterfinals on a semi-regular basis, and that's why he's ranked 17 in this tournament. So it's no mean feat that he's up as high as he is in the rankings. The methodical left-hander is taking on the Welshman Nick Kenny, who last year was a real beneficiary because he was thrust into the draw as the 65th seed, replaced Dom Taylor. That got him some ranking money ahead of Alexandra Palace, and then a great run saw him secure his tour card for 2025. He looks in a good position to retain it for 2026 as well. Had a run to a semi-final in Rosmalen earlier this year, did Nick Kenny, one of several Welshmen who will be gracing the Minehead and Alexandra Palace stages. They've played each other 5 times over the years, and Nick Kenny has won 3 of them. And it's a very, very difficult one to call, Nico.
It is.
140.
But I think a lot of darts fans out there would say Zonneveld is having his best 12-month period in his senior career. So maybe there's an argument to say that he's more likely to win this game.
85.
You're right in what you're saying about his bad days at the office on the Pro Tour are better than they have been at any point in his career. He's been up and down, through the rankings, back to Q School, then immediate returns more than once. But in a year where he has made the top 20 on the Players' Championship list, he's got to be doing more than one thing right.
87.
Making a final, making 3 semi-finals. This is now Niels Zonneveld's new normal. This is what we're going to judge him by from this point on.
Well, at a more basic level,
100.
Niels Zonneveld seldom loses in round 1. So even if you just win the odd game for every tournament, chip away, cash in checks, a little bit like what Richard Veenstra has done over the past few years, you're going to be in contention for tournaments like this. He's managed to add to that and have more deep runs, and he's looking at 81 for a very solid start. No need to go 12s. I think he'll go treble 14. Classic left-hander. Double 10. 81 check out for Niels Zonneveld. He made that look relatively straightforward.
He's got a very cool head on his shoulders. He's more than aware of the threat of Nick Kenny. He's been using these barrels probably as long as Niels has been alive. As the crow flies, Kenny to Minehead is spitting distance. But there's a very large bit of water in between, so he has to go around on land. Still doesn't take that long.
60.
But I don't think Nick gets anywhere near the amount of respect that he deserves for how much experience he's got. He's captained his country in another system, and he was greeted to the stage as a former winner on the development tour 12 years ago. He's been around a very long time, and he still looks very fresh-faced.
60.
He's just 32 years old, from Cwmbran in Wales. A World Trophy semi-finalist in the old BDO system. Oh, I thought he was going to be a daredevil then and stick with treble 20.
If he'd have hit a maximum there, going for that 60 on dart 3, we'll just call him knife edge instead of triple Z. There's no way he should have gone anywhere near that 60, and he did exactly the right thing.
100. Niels, you require 125.
He's got options here. Williams went for the 15s. Zonneveld not.
72.
That could be okay.
141.
Kenny needs something big. Now, is he undecided as to how to start this combination? Usually Gezi Price goes 57 first. But he is not cut from the same cloth.
58. Niels, you require 53.
Damp squib, really. Single to double for Zonneveld. Takes care of 13.
23.
Fails to take care of tops, not for the want of trying. Just the wrong side of the wire.
Does leave the ball. Safe 16.
58.
And a very good attempt
Niels, you require 30.
at the centre of the board, but that might be futile. Lefties tend to like double 15 because they like 10s. It's right next door. Okay, double 13 instead then. Could have won that second leg having hit 3 doubles in the leg.
Double 8.
Game show the second
Kenny
leg.
only needs the one dart.
Third leg, it's Niels to throw first.
And unlucky for Zonneveld, he was left on double 13 and didn't get a pop at it.
Nick Kenny has made a semi-final on the Pro Tour this year. And they do have something in common, these two, because when Nick was making the semi-finals in Rosmalen at the start of the season, he lost to Jelle Klaassen. And he probably looked at that as a massive opportunity to make a final and to possibly get a first title. He wasn't able to do it. But your mentioning of Białecki beating Zonneveld, everybody around the world thought this is the kind of opportunity that you feel like you must grab. Zonneveld will think that is a monstrous opportunity missed for his first title. But there will be more opportunities.
140.
Nick is still trying to make finals and getting to the top 20 in certain lists. Zonneveld's just a little bit ahead of him in progression.
I think it's fair to say that there has been a real upward curve with Zonneveld over the past 2 years. A tag that you
100.
bestowed on Bradley Brooks earlier, Q-School Yo-Yo. Niels Zonneveld used to be the same thing over in Europe. That's gone now.
Absolutely.
He's a safe member of the tour.
Yeah, people like Niels, Bradley, Richie Edhouse,
Think you require 120.
and some others get 2 years back to Q-School, another 2 years back to Q-School. That doesn't happen, and you don't think it's going to happen for Zonneveld anymore, courtesy of the work he's done very well with Kevin van der Voort.
150.
Well, he could find himself behind here. Kenny's been
110.
very patient in this game, waiting for the right opportunity to take a lead. If you go 12s, you usually stay at the top of the board for 68. And it's double 18.
32.
Not a bad dart.
Niels, you require 40.
Zonneveld now should take the lead himself.
Last time he went for tops. He went too far to the left. Goes too far south this time.
30.
Too far west with double 10.
36.
So a break opportunity for Nick Kenny. Looks at double 18. Not exactly a guide.
Game show the
Well, they call it the tricky switch. But Nick Kenny is able to master it.
Fourth leg, it's Nick to throw first.
You win the third leg, you're 2-1 up, and you're frustrated. That's because this war so far between Wales and the Netherlands has been somewhat attritional. And it does feel, and I don't mean this to come across as, you know, casting dispersions their way, but it feels somewhat mundane compared to some of the people that we've had on the stage already, like Williams. And like that Dom Taylor Gilding game, which was enthralling to say the least. This one could get like that over the next 10 minutes or so.
It is a clash between two players that don't give much away on stage. They get up, they throw the darts, they shake hands and move on.
85.
Histrionics, won't see many of them.
You were talking about Gilding not kicking on from the Minehead win here
45.
2.5 years ago. But if we may pay the correct compliment to Zonneveld, since he made the semi-finals of the Czech Darts Open last year, I think he has kicked on since then.
140.
If he was a commodity, you'd buy it. And you'd hold on to it and watch it mature.
Testament to his mindset as well, because given what he lost out on by losing in that semi-final, one win away from the European Championship out of nowhere.
Oh, he was absolutely crestfallen. But he's taken that disappointment, harnessed his emotions, and come back to 2025 as a better player. But he's a player that might be 3-1 down, because Kenny is starting to move a little bit better now.
100. Nick, you require 40.
Double top. That's pretty wild. That's not great either. Now, Nick Kenny should be busting.
No score.
I don't know whether you've looked at the grip of Nick Kenny at any point, Dan, but he does something that not a lot of players do. He uses his third finger in his right hand as a balancing point.
100.
It's one of the lightest grips on tour. The point is sitting on the fingertip of the third finger, and it works perfectly there for a 3-1 lead. He doesn't have to throw those darts very hard. They almost glide through the air.
He does have his own idiosyncrasies, does Nick Kenny, because it's quite an unusual address action that he does. It's like watching Mr. Tickle throw a dart. The arm flails, but then he gets it back, and it's a lovely action.
If he had longer arms, he could almost place the dart in the board. But that extension of the elbow, sometimes I have to look away because it looks somewhat awkward. But if you take that out of his throw, the rest of it is so good. The angles are perfect. Vertical nature of the right forearm and the follow through is really smooth.
100.
That's why he's been such a good player for more than a decade.
And the fact that he does grip the darts very lightly means he's less likely to snatch.
Correct. Because there's not a great deal of drawback on the throw. When he gets to that address point, he maybe takes it back 1.5 inches, which is not a lot.
59.
And I'm going to emphasize that word good, because I think he's a good player. I still think there are more levels to find with Nick. I don't even think he's anywhere near his peak.
123.
Had a super run in the European Tour last year in Hildesheim, which helped propel him to the World Championship spots.
This is a stage, and I mean by being on a stage. He's still trying to figure it out. Zonneveld needs 32 to figure this out. So if his favourite tops doesn't work, try something new. And that makes him a little happier, even though with that face you wouldn't potentially read that into what he's feeling. But if you look into Nick's career,
57.
Stage work hasn't been his forte. His visits to Lakeside, his visits to other places, but gradually, over the years, he's figuring it out year on year. Not everybody can be Luke Littler and just go onto a stage and go wallop. Some people, it takes a bit of time.
He's not got the worst record at Minehead. UK Open the last couple of years, he's reached round 4, which means he's gone in with the big boys, top 32 in the world.
59.
You just want to see that next step made by Nick, akin to what Niels has done.
Absolutely. Zonneveld's been to the last 16 of this tournament the last 2 years. And by virtue of that and his form in 2025, he will expect to make Saturday night at least again. If he doesn't make Saturday night, he will slide in ranking money. Because you've got to get to the same stage as you made 2 years ago to defend the money that you've got in your rankings. Tell that to Ryan Joyce, who beat Dave Chisnell here today on the main stage. Joyce is defending a semi-final from 2 years ago, and Dave Chisnell has got a lot on his mind before the Worlds.
Tell that to Luke Humphreys, who's defending the winner's check. And on the other hand, Luke Littler's defending Nout.
128. Make it require 149.
It's barely conceivable, isn't it? Defending nothing. Treble 19. Now, what does Zonneveld do here?
130.
Does he go for that 54 as a starting point?
I think he should do.
Excellent setup play from both players. But it's Kenny who could stretch.
Game shown the 6th flag.
Well, this Kenny's not going to be nilled.
7th flag, it's Niels to throw first.
He may even win this one. Starting to feel a bit of confidence up there, the Welshman. Or is this where this game gets really interesting? It's got to be quality fills from the Dutchman from this point, otherwise he is running the risk of losing at the first fence.
They're both.
That didn't last long.
60.
I can still see a 9 next to Kenny. We have had a Welsh 9-darter on this stage from Johnny Clayton back in 2020. I still remember the noise when he hit that final darter double. What a 9-darter that was. But then again, Johnny Clayton's got a lot of fans.
Rightly so.
Oh, and there's another 180. It's the 3rd of the leg. We are not going to get a 4th. Interesting switch. That's a textbook switch, you could say it. Zonneveld looking at 12 and bull. Doesn't want to give Kenny a shot.
56.
And he almost closed it out.
164.
Now the percentages state that Zonneveld should have teed up a double of his choosing. Kenny won't take out 164.
100.
That's a ton, so puts reasonable pressure on Zonneveld. Seen a lot of 1 double 12 action on 25 today, and Niels Zonneveld makes that work out for him.
8th flag is Nick to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, Niels has been all right on his doubles so far, and I am desperately trying to pay him a compliment in that department because he's 3 from 13. It's all right, but it usually comes with a statement after, as if to say, what has your opponent done in response? Well, Kenny is 4 from 12, which is better.
4 from 12, 33%. I think if most players were offered that at the start of any match, they would maybe accept.
100.
I think these players would only accept 33% if they're getting 18 darts at a double or less in a best of 11. Possibly 20. But realistically speaking, because of the quality on the PDC Tour these days, they don't necessarily aim for high percentages. They want to hit every double they go for. But realistically, they want 50%. That's the way it works these days.
News from stage one, and there was a fight back from Cam Crabtree, who's beaten Mike DeDecker 6-5. His stock is rising.
At the same rate that his mustache is growing. If he wins this tournament, he's never getting rid of it. Plenty more action to come in Red's Bar this afternoon.
100.
Kevin Dutz against Callan Rids, that's going to be fun. Cameron Menzies against the baby boy, Adam Lipscomb, who makes his Players' Championship Finals debut here this afternoon. And considering the trouble that Zonneveld was in, he could find himself in a very positive position yet again right now if he can hit tops. That's the kind of resilience we've come to know from Niels. He was in trouble. He isn't anymore. He's back in charge.
Biggest checkout of the match so far.
Game on.
Couple of consecutive legs. And ones where Kenny didn't get a dart at double, so momentum could be shifting towards the Dutchman.
Definitely feels like it's statistically
27.
7 points between them in the averages. And Zonneveld is the man who has the bigger number. But not at the start of this leg. Starting with 27. That is like a seagull nicking your ice cream down.
105.
Bit of Suljovic S-play there from Nick Kenny.
How many people have you seen do that at the start of a leg? Any leg?
60.
I can say hand on heart, now it's 3. Seen it from Suljovic, seen it from Gezi Price, and now Nick Kenny. Because if you score 105 at the start of a leg, you can go back-to-back maxes to lead double 18. That's what they're thinking. 10 dart a possibility if you take 105 or 130 at the start.
And we could almost laugh and be flippant about it, but planning what you're going to do from the very first visit, that's what someone like Littler has maybe not pioneered, but he's popularized. If he hits 59 with his first 3 darts, you know at some point in the next visit he's going to the 18s.
25, 30 years ago, we were talking about what you leave as a finish. Now we're talking about what you leave after 3 darts or 6 darts, so you can leave a finish. Darts has become the new chess. You're playing 3 or 4 moves ahead. But chess is not a sport where you can actually throw the pieces across the board. Here there are things flying through the air. And this is not a good leg for Niels. He's registered that in his own mind. He's taken a bit of a time out there to try and figure out what's going on. Might just be a best of 11 match. 1 game in a day. But because it's so short, it feels like hard work.
Well, this has not been a good follow-up from Zonneveld from the 110 checkout. He's only just getting to a finish now. Well, needed that treble for a 2-darter and was able to find it. So pressure on 116. Nick Kenny at some point needs to find a break of throw. Is now the time. It certainly is. Nick Kenny follows up with a ton-plus checkout of his own, and now he's 1 leg away from a place in round 2. And if both results go as planned, Nick Kenny could get another crack at Michael Smith at Minehead, because he'll play either him or Martin Schindler.
Schindler being the number 16 seed. Nick Kenny's got some fans out there. Looks a bit flushed in the face, and that is the sign of a little bit of nerves.
100.
Coupled with a little bit of adrenaline, which could definitely help in these kind of cases. He really wants to go further in this tournament than he ever has. Lost in the first round last year. Doesn't want the same feeling on Players' Championship Friday once again. He's doing a really good job here. 3 trebles out of his first 6 darts. That is more than acceptable. That was a good game last year between Michael Smith and Nick Kenny. Both averaged over 94. 6-5 victory for Smith, who was the 18th seed this time last year.
57.
Right now he's thinking about nothing else but getting over the line. But if he does, I think he'll want to play Smith. He won't want to play Schindler.
Whoa!
He doesn't want to play Niels Zonneveld anymore. Where's that come from? And I don't think he understands where it's come from either. It's been a very up and down performance from Niels.
Well, Nick Kenny might be powerless to prevent a last leg decider. 140 would be golden.
100.
Have to settle for a ton.
161.
Nothing wrong with that. He's just taken out a 3-figure checkout to get the lead. He's got a chance of a second consecutive ton plus checkout to get rid of Niels, who a lot of people before this tournament thought he could have a run here, but that run might not get going.
Nick Kenny will get a match dart, and it will be at his favourite double 18. Nick Kenny takes it out.